What is going on, man? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Man, yesterday yesterday was a good day. What was yesterday? It was Monday, right? Yeah, yesterday was a great day. Just kind of chilled out with the family. We went to the park. We went to this place called Boulder City. And it's just outside of Nevada. We went to this place called Boulder City. It was great, man. It was great. Took the kids to the park. My daughter was walking everywhere, which is freaking amazing. Because I was worried. She was a late walker. My daughter didn't walk till 14 months. And I was like, oh my God, is she okay? Is she okay? And then she just got up one day and started walking. That's crazy, right? You don't walk and then all of a sudden you just start walking. It's nuts. Hey, what's up, Kinley? Good morning to you. Thank you so much for checking out the morning yo, waking up with all that positivity and love. What up? The after show, but later. Sup, yo? Daniel. What up, Daniel? Thanks for the love, man. I saw you on Twitter too, spreading the word about the morning yo, and I really, really appreciate that. We're building a community, man. As always, if you have some positivity you want to drop in the columns, something great happening, it doesn't have to be big. You be like, yo, I got a little raise, or hey, my kid did this, or hey, I found a great person to date. I don't know how you date during coronavirus, but hey, I'm sure you're doing it because everybody got to get something. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? So, yeah, man. So I'm very excited about this today. Cobra Kai. I was late to Cobra Kai. I was late, right? I saw it after they had a couple seasons taped, and then it went to Netflix. And I was like, wait a minute. This show is awesome. It is awesome. So I watched the first season. My friend Bret Ernst was in it. He plays Cousin Louie. I know I said Cousin Vinny, but it's Cousin Louie. He plays Cousin Louie. He works at the car dealership. He keeps track of all the inventory. So I watched the first and second season back to back. And after the first season, I was like, oh, let me text him. And then I started watching the second season, and I didn't see him the second season. I was like, oh, I don't want to open a wound. They had him on the first season. They didn't bring him back the second season. I don't want him to think like, oh, then he has to explain. I didn't want to put him through that. But then I saw him on the third season. I was like, yes, my man is back. So now I hit him up and we became close. He has a local show in Vegas on every Tuesday and Wednesday at LA Comedy Club in Vegas, which is an amazing place. It's at the Strat. He does every Tuesday and Wednesday, 10 o'clock at night. And it's awesome, man. He just works out comedy. I go out there sometimes and work out some comedy. So yeah, it's great, man. It's great. So he's going to be logging in a second to do this. He says, give me 5 minutes. So like a couple minutes, he said, give me 5 minutes, like 3 minutes ago. So 2 minutes, he'll be logging in. How are you this morning though? How are you? I'm feeling grateful. Every morning, you know what I do? Grateful for my wife, grateful for my son, grateful for my daughter, grateful for another 24. I do want to ask you something though. Something happened to me the other day that I don't know. I know a lot of y'all ain't doctors, but maybe this has happened to you. So I was watching the Super Bowl, and maybe you know what this is. And I'm being serious here. This is serious. So I was watching the Super Bowl, and my chest got really tight. Not a heart attack. My chest got really tight. It felt like it was burning. And then this ear started ringing. And I was like, what is it? It felt like heartburn. I don't know. But I had to like stretch out my chest. Then after I did that, it went away after a minute. Was it an anxiety attack? Anybody been through that? Does anybody watching know what that is? I don't know, man. It freaked me out. My wife started freaking out, but it feels really tight in the chest. And then it starts burning, and then your ears start ringing. I don't know. Scott Sandry this morning, watching at 8 o'clock. What's up, Scott Sandry? 8 o'clock at night watching. Where you checking in from now, man? 8 o'clock at night? I love that. Huge audience, man. Like I said, keep sharing the podcast. We started this podcast, Morning Yo, 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, 30,000 people on Facebook that subscribe to it. Now we have over close to 180,000 just in 2.5 months. So I appreciate you guys so much. Leave some stars if you want, hook it up and make sure you keep sharing it because it means a lot. But without further ado, I just saw him pop in. My man, Bret Ernst. What's up, man?
Represent,
you, baby. The you, baby. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm trying to get this all set up. I just finally got the office done, kind of, sort of.
Oh, in your new place?
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I gotta put the pictures up and everything. You can hear me good, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to get a mic eventually if we're gonna do this Miami Hurricanes podcast.
Go.
Oh, is it plugged in? It doesn't sound like it's plugged in.
Oh, really? Hold on. I'm not that tech savvy.
Is it on, Bret?
I think so. Yeah, hold on. Let me check. Does it sound better now?
No.
Oh, it's terrible. Hold on. Let me go to the
It sounds like you're on a speakerphone. I think you got to go to settings and put it on that mic.
All right, I got Yeti. It says internal speakers. Okay, that should work.
I mean, it should sound like mine sounds to you.
All right, better?
I mean, no, but we'll roll with it.
No, man. Let's get this right.
Yeah. Because we're gonna bring the fire for the Miami Hurricanes podcast when we start doing.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Is it plugged into the side of the computer or what?
Yeah, it's plugged into the side. It said it should be working, man.
Maybe wait, when you're that close, it sounds good.
Right now, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Do this. How's this? Better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Yeah. You're gonna have to get a different. You know what? I'm gonna send you a link to a good mic. Come on, you making Netflix money, man. You need some good mics.
Yeah, I don't know if you know what Netflix money is. It's still streaming, dog.
Okay. So I want to jump in. So many fans of Cobra Kai. If you want to ask Bret a question about Cobra Kai, leave it in the comments. I appreciate everybody tuning in. So I want to know, I know your history in comedy, and we're going to get to that, and your show at the Strap, we're going to get to that. But I want to know, how this all came about, Cobra Kai.
Just regular, man. The guys that wrote it and produced it are the guys that did Harold and Kumar and Hot Tub Time Machine. And then I guess they knew comedy, so they were I got a request to come in, but I still had to audition just like everybody else. But I think it worked in my favor that I was in New Jersey for a week. I was doing a theater in Asbury Park, and that whole week I was hanging out with my friends. And then so when I got off the plane, it was just I already had the accent going because in Hollywood, not that I have one, but if you're in New Jersey, you hear a real New Jersey accent.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
so you try and dilute it a lot in Hollywood that, you don't want to go in, hey, how you doing? All cartooned out. So when I was just there for that long, it just worked out that I got off the plane. I had my JR's Bar and Grill Seaside Heights t-shirt on. And I just went right to the audition because I got the call when I was in Asbury Park. And I think because I was in Jersey all week that my accent came out natural and it just worked out, man.
Did they say they wanted a Jersey accent? Or
yeah, they wanted a guy that was, again, man, usually when you see that, people overdo it with, hey, I'm over here, or with, a dog, and they sound like a cartoon. And they wanted, a guy was the character's from Jersey, is where Daniel LaRusso grew up. Actually, my father on the show is in Karate Kid 2. So remember, he's dying. He's in bed dying. So
yes,
that guy is my father on the show. Okay. I won't say real life, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you. So how many times did you have to audition? How did it all work out?
I went in right away, man. And I think, I think they kind of wanted me already. So they just wanted to see if I could read. I don't know. But it moved kind of quick, man. It moved kind of quick.
And then you're on set. So did you feel, because you hear so much about it now, but when it first came out, did you think it kind of failed, or was it instant? It was huge.
It wasn't huge because we were on the YouTube Premium site.
Yeah.
Which is what they actually bought the show to be their flagship show. You know what I mean? And the ratings were phenomenal. And the people that I mean, I think I read one interview, one comment or review where it said it's the only thing the internet agrees on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but we were on YouTube Premium. So once YouTube Premium was like, look, we're not keeping this streaming site anymore, Netflix licensed it, but we shot the first 3 seasons already with YouTube. So this season 4 that we're shooting now is the first one produced by Netflix. But people were fans of the show. We had like an underground following, but a lot of people didn't even know it existed because it was on YouTube. That's
what's interesting about it. Like, I didn't know about it till the end of the 2nd season and the 3rd season was starting. But you're saying y'all already shot all 3 of those?
Yeah, all 3 of those were shot.
So how long did it take you to shoot all 3 of those seasons?
Maybe 2 years.
Okay. So this has been okay. Got you.
Yeah.
So because I told you the story, but I saw you in the 1st season, and then I immediately started the 2nd season. I was about to hit you up, but then I didn't see you in the 2nd season. I was like, oh, I don't want to open up a wound. And then I saw you the 3rd season. It made me really happy. So what's it look like for the 4th season? Can you say anything about the 4th season?
You know what? I'm definitely in it. I haven't seen the script though, but I'll be in a more than a few episodes. But you got to understand, it's like Game of Thrones, where we have so many characters on the show and so many storylines. I mean, besides the automobile, dealership and Daniel's life, and then Johnny's life, and then you got all the kids in high school. There's a lot going on. So,
And when you're on set with Daniel's son, like, you grew up watching Karate Kid, I'm sure too. That was a movie you watch. Was it kind of a surreal moment being there?
Me and Dan Dan, right?
Yeah.
The other guy, he's a comic as well.
Yeah.
I remember the first day we showed up on set is when they were when they met face to face. You know what I mean? So I was staring at him, and I'm like, "Yo, it was a little surreal," but it's a job, man. I mean, I've been in the business 24 years, so it's not like you're not in awe of things. And I had worked with Ralph before in Beer League. Right, because I was in Beer League. I only had a small role, but but it was a little. I'll be honest with you, it's really cool to be a part of that canon, the Karate Kid canon. Now, I mean, like it's solidified now. Like you can't. Cobra Kai is now a part of the canon. If whatever the term is, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. It's part of the mainstream. It's part of it, and everybody knows about it. And it's going to open up a lot of doors for you, and has it already.
I mean, I don't know yet. I mean, it's hard to gauge everything. I've been a comic forever, man. I can't really tell how the ticket sales are going to be because we're selling out every show because we can only sell 38 seats.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I just got another role offered another role on a show to Tacoma. But just small stuff here and there. I don't know, man. I just take it as it comes. I mean, look, all I invest in is stand up because that's the only thing I have control over, and that's the only thing that
That's what I tell everybody. That's the industry can say yes or no to you, but the only thing we have control of is that stage and the material, and you got to keep growing from. Now, you've always been an outspoken comic. Now that you're getting some success, is there sometimes you're like, I'm not going to push the envelope on this joke because I'm kind of on a roll? Does that go on in the back of your mind?
You know what? It's a shame that we're in a society where that even has to be a thought.
Yep.
Like we're back in the 1950s, but on the opposite end.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't. I mean, I'm not an envelope pusher to begin with. You know what I mean? I don't. If I have an opinion on something, I'm gonna say it. I mean, it's free speech, man. It's comedy. It's supposed to be said.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm not really that type of guy anyways. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I've seen your set, it's great, and it there's no pushing envelope type of stuff, but it's kind of like nowadays with comedy, the whole cancel culture, the whole if you say something to an audience member and somebody gets it on tape and that tape goes viral or that video goes viral, now you're screwed. You know what I mean?
then you know what? Then you know it would suck because you know I've fought so hard to get what I want, and but you know what? I'm not mad at the people that complain. I'm mad at the industry for listening to them.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing? Where in the world did this ever become a thing? Where, you know, like I said, Lenny Bruce went to jail for this, and you know, I started in 1997, 96. And, you know, in the beginning, we had to deal with the religious right, but the progressive left is the new religious right. Yeah. They're the ones trying to ban everybody. It's crazy. Like, you figure as a liberal, I figured we got out of the construction zone site. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we hit that. Now it's these crazy lefties that are to me, it's the same thing now. You know what I mean? I'm an old school liberal where like, you know, I just let people be. I'm not afraid of words. I'm not afraid of people's thoughts and ideas. If somebody disagrees with me, the only thing I don't like that we have a problem with is Florida State. But we can talk about that another time.
The worst school ever. Matt Gaetz is from Florida State, of course. He graduated from Florida State. But yeah, Florida State is horrible, and so is Florida.
No, but
which one do you hate? Which one do you hate more, Florida
honestly,
State or Florida?
Florida.
Yeah,
and you know why? It's because they ducked us for so many years. But many years. What I'm saying, yeah. I think that a lot of the cancel culture is exaggerated a little. I mean, I think you can say what you want. If you have it's sad that our industry is listening to these voices when it should just tell them to shut and go away. But I do see that happening though. I do see they're getting ignored more and more now because, you know, you only get so many battles to die on. So many, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things that you only get so many of those. And if you're going to waste them on something stupid, you know, then people are going to tune you out after a while. And I think that's what's happening now.
Yeah. You know, like my thing, I always say it, freedom of speech needs to go both ways. Look, if a comic says something extreme, or a reporter says something extreme, look, the other people have freedom of speech to say what they want to say. But back in the day, you used to have to earn that. You know what I mean? Like to comment on somebody, you had to come up through the ranks. You had to really study comedy. You had to really, or whatever profession it was, to be an expert. You had to really know the field. Now anybody can be an expert with and you offend anybody, and then they can take it to Twitter or Instagram or wherever, and then they have a right of freedom of speech.
I meant
exactly, but we give them credibility.
Well, dude, listen again, man. The bias in the left right now in the media is just disgusting. It is disgusting, and it needs to level out because it just, you know, what do you? First of all, from a street perspective, from money perspective. You've got all types of people in America that have different ideologies, but they all spend money. You know, you can't just ignore or go after. And again, man, the whole thing is nonsense to me. All of it is. I mean, any comic. I always tell people, like, comics don't form opinions by going, oh, really? Is that true?
Yeah.
No, like, whenever you hear something, we're always like, okay. Right. We always listen with that contrarian ear. Right. And that's why we've always been commentators on society. I mean, from Bill Hicks to Lenny Bruce to George Carlin to Richard Pryor. Now we're in an era where you have so many great comedians, and now we have to go up against the progressives now. And by the way, I hate the term punching down. I think that term is such a passive-aggressive, racist term. Anybody who says punching down, they're basically telling you that they think that they're above you. You know what I mean? Where, to me, I don't care, man. And you know me personally.
Yeah.
Nothing is off limit. Nobody is exempt from being criticized or made fun of. it just makes no sense. I mean, again, I'm not a mean-spirited person.
Yeah.
So when I'm making jokes, I'm not doing it to hurt anybody. But if it's a joke, it's a joke. I mean, there are some comics that are a little too harsh.
Yeah.
For my liking,
Yeah.
they should. If people like them, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I got you. I do want to ask you about the Super Bowl. Is Brady?
I love how you just got off. You know what? You got me going, Mike. And that
I did. But here's the thing. I could go off on this too, and we could talk about this for an hour.
Yeah,
because
it's a dead horse. It gets beat to death by every comic.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I want to move to Brady because I have my opinion, which I haven't heard any news outlet like ESPN or the commentators have my take on it. But I want to get your take. Is Brady the GOAT of all athletes?
All right, look. All right, Bill Russell has the most championships of any athlete, right? Other than Ric Flair. Ric Flair is the 16-time WCW. But other than Ric Flair, and now John Cena, I think Ric Flair and John Cena are tied with world championships.
Oh, gosh.
No. But now Bill Russell was playing a different game. Right. So we look at his 11 championships, but he's like, you know what? It was in an era with 9 teams and whatever. Tom Brady's playing a different football than, say, Joe Montana played. All right. It's a different game. It's hard to differentiate the two. I mean, come on. I mean, the guy's been to 10 Super Bowls. He's won 7. By default, he is the GOAT.
Of all athletes.
Of all athletes, I mean,
okay. Let me explain my.
You know what? You're right. The question was all athletes. I'm going Joe Montana versus Tom Brady.
No, I'm talking about all athletes.
No, I gotta give it to Jordan. I still got it to Jordan.
Okay, I give it to Jordan, and I'm gonna tell you what. You just froze. Are you there? Oh yeah,
no, I'm here.
Okay, so I feel if you just look at stats, yeah, Brady is one of the greats, right? But I think to be the best. Like the GOAT means everything, not just stats. It means what you bring to that sport. The reason why I think Michael Jordan is the greatest, because he actually changed basketball. Like Tom Brady is a phenomenal quarterback, but he didn't change being a quarterback. Like Mahomes is doing more changes than Brady. Michael Jordan got some Jordans, like the shoe, and made that a multi-billion-dollar company because he was so great on basketball. Michael Jordan played the game of basketball differently. You never hear somebody, I don't care if you're from Boston, throw a pass and go, Brady. No, but you hear it with Jordan, you hear it with Kobe, and I just feel like to be the GOAT, you have to change the sport. LeBron, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let you jump in because I know you want to. LeBron to me is a great athlete, but he has not changed basketball. Steph Curry has changed basketball more than LeBron James.
Okay.
As far as the 3-ball, like to change, I'm talking about changing a sport.
They're playing a different game. Here's why I'm going to go with Jordan to add to your point. Okay, is he's also the greatest of his era in the greatest era of basketball. Right. So when you look at when he started, even though he never beat Bird in the Celtics because he was on a rough, the Bulls weren't the Bulls then, but he played against Bird. He played against Magic. He played against Shaq. I mean, he went all the way up to but in that mid 90s with the Knicks and the Pacers and come on, Bret. Knicks, Pacers. Who else was the Bulls? That was the Pistons.
The Pistons. Bad boy.
Let's be honest too. Steph Curry is if he's playing in the 90s, there's no way he's sitting out in the perimeter hitting threes without getting laid out.
100%. But
nobody goes to the paint anymore. And again, we sound like the two old guys, but the reality is it's a different game. Now, in LeBron's defense, if they were able to play defense today like they did back then, he would easily be Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he'd be throwing grown men around.
Yeah.
But, you don't need the big guy. You don't need the center anymore like you used to. It's a different game. Just like Brady's playing a different game. I mean, when they called that pass, that roughing the passer on Mahomes, I mean, that was just a regular play in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know, nobody really, when they called it on JPP, but it wasn't really him. It was, I forgot the guy that hit him, but that was nothing. Again, it's a different game that these guys are playing. It's a much safer, easier.
100%. 100%. But
Jordan was the best in the best era.
Absolutely.
He changed. I mean, he's a pop icon.
You're about to say it. He changed the game, though. He changed the game.
He played with Bugs Bunny, dude.
We got some people coming in. Lance Padilla says, I want to see Louis join Miyagi-Do and take on Stingray in season 4.
Yeah, you know, I hope that happens too, man. I got to redeem myself.
I mean, do you know some karate? I mean, are you training or anything? Have you taken any classes?
Yeah, well, when I was younger, I mean, I've taken a couple different forms. I started at Taekwondo like every other kid. Then I did a little Goju-Ryu, which was for a while, but then I got into Krav Maga for, I'd say, about 5 years, 6 years.
What is Krav Maga? I've never heard of that.
It's Israeli martial art. You know, it's actually pretty.
To be the man, you got to beat the man. Neither Brady
I love
nor
what Lance
Jordan.
is doing over here. Yeah, Lance, I agree.
Neither be Ric Flair.
Oh, look at this person wants to know, since I'm a break dancer. All right, Mr. Wiggles, Ozone Turbo. They're going with actually, I like Crazy Legs from Rocksteady Crew. How you doing?
Oh yeah. What does this mean right here? This is Andrew Singer, Beard Humor. Bret fights
Passaic. That's what Andrew. Yeah, he's from down the street. Andrew's actually good friends with a lot of comics. He's starting.
Oh, he's a great dude.
Yeah, you know Andrew.
Oh, and man, let me tell you, Andrew has the biggest heart in the game.
We're from the same hometown in New Jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's such a great dude, and his memes are amazing. Like, he just kicks up the game, man. He just kicks up the game. Let's see. Since wait, nobody saw this question because I didn't put it up. You saw it. Since Brad is a breakdancer, who is the biggest b-boy influence, Mr. Okay, got you. And that's what you just answered. Crazy Legs, right?
Yeah, and what was the other dude? Buckshot and
yeah. Well, you remember the movies Breaking?
Of course. Well, I'm partial to Beat Street myself.
Beat Street, yes.
You know what I mean? That's why, because I was up there at that time, and you know, it reminds me of being a kid up there.
Now, did you actually see these people around and them dancing and things like that?
No, I never. Well, there was a couple of battles. If Andrew, or if he remembers, there was a stage in Third Ward Park where people used to battle all the time in New Jersey. But you know, I was just a kid, so you know, I just looked up to my cousin Carmen.
You know what? I think I know what's wrong with your mic. Move a wire or something because it just popped on for a second. Yeah. Yes? Okay. Talking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's way better. I think so. Okay. I think you got a bad wire or something. So I want to talk about your comedy game because you've been in the game for 25 years. And before I moved to LA, you know, I was talking to the comic and they go, oh man, like I moved to LA, like got into comedy about 10 years ago. That's it. But you've been doing it for 25. How was LA comedy scene change from when you started in LA and what got you to LA and how it is now?
Well, I originally was up in New York for a minute and then I went back down to Florida. I originally consider myself starting in South Florida. Okay. I was there for 3 years. I traveled back and forth. Like I used to drive up to New York just to do like a one-nighter, turn around, and then drive back to Miami. You know?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I drove 23 hours one time for a gig. Did the gig, slept, and then turned around and came back.
How much did you get paid for that gig?
Shit, $50 maybe. So when I first got to LA, man, you know, my goal was to get into the Comedy Store and see again, man. I know people watch the documentary on it. Is the mic still good or no? Am I good?
No, it's good. It's good.
I know people watch the documentary on it, but there was that 20-year period that they kind of touched on in the documentary. where nobody's at the Comedy Store. You know, it was the OR. You know, you maybe get 7, 8 people. I remember sometimes they would just be like, look, we're going to cancel the show because nobody was in the showroom, you know? And that's, you know, when Rogan was there and Diaz was there and all that crazy, you know, Dice was always coming in. Eddie Griffin was coming in, and, you know, it was like the inmates ran the asylum. And in that period is where we would grow as comics in that OR. And Mitzi was always there to, you know, talk to us. But I don't know if you were there for Dublin's. Were you there for Dublin's?
No, I came after Dublin's.
So when Dublin's hit, that was like the big thing for about 4 years in LA. And I mean, I can't even tell you, it was like a rock concert. And, you know, you still had a lot of the alt scene booming. So the early 2000s, when Comedy Central was doing Tough Crowd and the Chappelle Show, and it was just a great time to develop comedy. And again, man, I mean, not to come full circle, but there's a lot of censorship going on in the comedy community, which I think has affected it. And, you know, again, I'm not affected by it because I've already grew up in it. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed that the scene has changed, and there's people like what you that question you asked me. I never even thought of it, but that's a legitimate question. Where are you afraid that you could lose everything because of something you said? And that's basically what you asked me.
Yeah.
The fact that that's even a factor in today is disgusting, and it has affected the comedy scene. I don't let it affect me. I don't care. I'll die on that hill. You know what I mean? Because I know I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I know a lot of these comics are good people. It's humor, but it has affected the scene. So, you know, we were more. I tell a lot of the younger comics, like when we were policing ourselves back in the day, there were 2 things we policed. One, are they stealing jokes? Mm-hmm. Right. 2, is it hacky? Now, I'm Roman Catholic. I'm Italian. I love the U. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Whatever my beliefs are, if you're doing joke, something I don't agree with, you know, I'm going to add to it with my knowledge to try and make it funnier. Yeah. I don't care. It's about the joke. You know what I mean? You can make fun of everything I stand for all day if it's, you know, as long as you're not being disrespectful, as long as it's funny, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, again, so it has bled into the scene. And it's also, Mike, bled. See, I'm in about 30 to 35 cities a year prior to COVID, right?
Yeah.
But every time I go to a major city, I go to the open mic scene. And, you know, I just love being around comics. I just love the culture. And I have seen a dramatic difference. And I've also seen, like, a lot of people that are in the scene you never see on stage, right? So you always get these comics that are always around. They always end up blogging. They always end up talking about another comedian or something they said or questioning their intentions. And, you know, as a white male, you're always – we can get the racist card pulled on us all the time, regardless of whether we are or not. Which, you know, but then there's other things, misogyny, whatever these stupid terms, it's got nothing to do with a joke, right? They police and they look around and, you know, and they go after whoever they want to go after. But they're usually never on stage. Again, doesn't affect me. I'm already grown. I'm seeing it in the younger scene more. But the comedy store is still true to the art, and it won't change. As long as Adam's there, and as long as, you know, you got the comics there that really respect the tradition of stand-up comedy, of pushing the envelope, or, you know, as long as that comedy store is still standing, you ain't going to have a problem there. It's going to be in the developing rooms around it. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I love the Comedy Store, man. It's just a play. You know, it's before I got into comedy, you would always hear about brotherhood and, you know, how comics always got comics backs. And I saw a big shift. Like 10 years ago when I started, you know, I knew some comics, but comics would talk a bunch of crap about other comics. Then when podcasting started, it seemed like it brought a lot of comedians together, and the hate has kind of gone away. Now, I'm also a guy that doesn't sit in the comedy clubs and try to listen to stuff and get involved in that kind of stuff. But I just noticed where 10 years ago, comics would just come up and tell me stuff, you know, about other comics.
like that was never my thing either, man. I mean, you know, we're both athletes. To me, it's a bitch trait. You know what I'm saying? Like to talk about another man. I think that's you know, I think that's hoish as fuck. And on top of that, like, you know, if again, I'm gonna talk to you in person. I'm not gonna talk to you through 10 other people. But you know, most people, most comics, a lot of them are bitch made with that stuff, man. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. And it is, man. I think it's just I've seen it. But again, the ones that are really working and the ones that are into the art form, you know, there's a reason why that they are doing well, and the other people just linger in the mics and in that little scene that they have, you know, like I don't know. Now, you know what I'm talking about though.
No. Oh yeah. I know. I exactly know where it's those people that say I've been doing comedy for 15, 20 years, but they only got like 5 years of stage time. You know, it's those guys because stage time. I remember when I first started, Russell Peters told me, he says, you're going to come up faster because you're going to get a lot of stage time in. Stage time. Don't go by years, go by stage time, because that's how you build. You know what I mean? Is how much stage time you have.
Absolutely. It's, and you know, they give you that 10,000 rule.
Yeah.
You know,
10,000 hours.
The problem with comedy is you're doing it 5 to 15 minutes at a time to get to 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
But once you get to a certain point, you know, like now I'm averaging, you know, maybe 7 hours a week.
Yeah.
Right. Counting the Tuesday and Wednesday at the Strat.
Yeah.
So I'll average an hour a night to try and work out. And, you know, that's the other thing too. Comedy is always a work in progress. So when you're looking at the art form of it, right? Like sometimes I'm playing with tone. Sometimes I'm playing with, like I was talking about the divorce. I could do it bitter and then draw attention to it, or make it like, you know, because I really don't care, but there's ways to play with the tone of a joke.
I was there when you were doing that. You said, I'm going to do it bitter this show. And then the next night, thank you for inviting me up, by the way, to do the shows with you. The next night you're like, okay, I'm gonna be a little bit more laid back about it and not aggressive, because the way you come out, the audience listens in a different way. You know, it's pretty interesting how, because I used to come out hot, and then I was like, sometimes I come out like, hey, what's up? You know, just hang. And the audience builds to your crescendo a different way. So it was great to see you work out that way.
But again, so, you know, if people understand the art form, a lot of times you're saying things on stage that you're trying to make work, or you don't know if it works, or you don't know if it's funny. You know, that's why it's hard to judge a comic material until they actually put it out. You know what I mean? Like when I do my special, I'm 100% committed to how I delivered it and what I'm saying. In the creative process, I'm not. I might say some things that might sound a certain way, but you know, you write on stage.
Yeah,
it's all
100%.
You know?
Well, go ahead.
No.
I said this, when people get canceled for stuff they say on stage at a comedy club, I go, that's like when reporters go to comedy shows. That's like a reporter turning in their rough draft of their article and making it their final piece. Anytime you see a comic in a comedy club, they're working it out. This is their rough draft. This might be their first pass, their second pass. It's not the final document. When it's a special, if you want to criticize it, then criticize it then. But when you see us in a club, I mean, that's just unfair to criticize and to try to cancel somebody, because we're trying out stuff. We're trying to see what works, what doesn't work. And if you don't give us that freedom, you know, you're going to get terrible comedy.
No, and again, man, it's I know it's a dead horse. Everybody talks about it, but it's a legitimate threat, man. It really is. I mean, this is no joke. It's gotten to the point to where, like I said, I'm not mad at the people who complain. You've always had that.
Yeah.
I'm mad at our industry for listening to them and ruining the lives of talented people. And I remember when Leslie Jones got on Saturday Night Live, and you know, she's one of my favorite comic people, right? And right out the gate, she did that joke about breeding the slave, like breeding with other slaves. She did it on Saturday Night Live, and you had all these angry people, and it's always the same. It's like the angry white progressive person or whatever, demanding that she apologize. And who the fuck? And you know, and this girl had put almost 20 something years into getting to where she had to be. It was like 27 years. She finally got her break. And now people wanted to take it away from her. And Saturday Night Live didn't listen, thank God. And I just wish that they would take that cue. I remember another time when JCPenney had whatchamacallit, Ellen DeGeneres as the spokesperson, and then people complained, and again, that was the right complaining, and the industry didn't listen. They need to stop listening to the left now, because they're doing the same thing. We're all on the same team here. You know what I mean? When it comes to free speech. And again, I'm not saying like you don't have to buy a ticket, but when you're questioning people's integrity that have you know,
busted their ass for all these years in the game.
Jokes. It's just a joke.
I want to switch gears.
Wait, really quick to get back to why people hate the I did that meme with Tom Brady and Ric Flair. Okay. The joke where like Ric Flair is 17. I shared that on my page. It legitimately caused an argument. That people, first of all, there was a guy that was trying to convince me that wrestling isn't real.
Yeah.
Okay. Which we know.
Yeah.
There's another guy who went in, but then he pulled back and he made a mistake. Then there's somebody going, well, Ric Flair was a racist. It's just started this whole thing. It's a joke that Ric Flair had 17 championships. And it just shows you why these people, we shouldn't listen to them. Because these were the people before the internet, if you remember, these are the same people that used to write on bathroom stalls. You know? That like would write the most horrendous, meanest stuff on a bathroom stall. These are the same people that are jumping in on Facebook walls. They've always existed. We just got to stop listening to them.
All right, we're going to switch gears because we beat that dead horse.
Again,
I want to talk about coronavirus, man, because I see you traveling everywhere. And you're doing a lot of shows across the country because you're hot right now. You're on one of the biggest shows right now, Cobra Kai. Cousin Louie, do you ever feel unsafe when you go to places, or how are you protecting yourself?
No, I don't care, man. I don't care.
You don't care?
First of all, the plane right now has those HEPA filters. It's probably the safest place to be. I think I had it already. Actually, I know I had it when it first came out. I mean, for 3 weeks, you know, but I powered through it. But and then I was hanging with this chick that had it, and I didn't have it again. And if I did, I would have had it again.
Yeah.
But I was never really concerned about it anyways, man. I mean, you know, I was kind of like, let me just get it and get it over with. But, you know, traveling, you know, the clubs are doing the best they can to try and comply. And also, you know, there's I mean, look, we were under the assumption that we're just gonna try and curb the whatchamacallit, the hospitals so they weren't inundated. Eventually everybody's got to get this thing, you know, but now that the vaccine's out, hopefully everything will open up. I ain't touching it.
Why not? You're not gonna get the vaccine?
Not for like at least 5 years. I want to see what happens.
No, I got you.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people were burned in the invention of fire, so we'll let that play out. But I know you had it real bad, dude. By the way, man, that's a great the way you're doing that on stage is beautiful, man.
Is it? I'm trying to find the right beats to make it heartfelt but yet funny at the same way.
You're orchestrating it great, man. I mean, it's cool because I don't know, man. I mean, you know, to me, there's nothing better than true life, and the way that you're doing it is pretty good, man. I know I could tell it's about 85% there.
Yeah,
but it's still good enough to present, man.
I appreciate it. It's pretty crazy going through something like that, and I always tell people, a lot of people die sudden, and you don't get to think about your life. But when you know that, okay, I got like 3 or 4 days, it changes your whole perspective because you go through your life, you know, and I said it on stage and I'll say it now on this podcast because I don't think I said it. I feel that the greatest thing is I treat everybody well and I respected everybody and I have no enemies. And if I did have enemies, then that's on them because I'm a fair and kind person. But the biggest thing was, I got kids and they would have never known what type of father they had. And that's what hurt me the most. It wasn't dying. It was that with 2 kids, a son and a daughter. So that's what was crazy to me, man. But that's what I learned in that whole experience, and just surviving the thing and seeing so many pass away from it. It's, if you believe in God, if you don't believe in God, people say you're here for a reason, but there's a reason I'm still around. And I think just doing this and spread, and I feel like I'm a connector. I like people to shine, and I like to give them a platform to shine. So that's what I'm focusing on.
Well, and I'll say that, again, obviously the thing's real. That's the other thing that bothers me. Like these people that won't wear the mask, just wear the damn mask. Until we figure it out. But I've known a bunch of people that were really, affected by it, man. And, Carlos Rodriguez is another one. I mean, dude, his lung, I almost cried, man. I mean, I called him on the phone. I mean, he's fine now, but dude, he couldn't even talk. He couldn't even breathe. Yeah. And then, but I also, some people are more susceptible to it than others,
And I think they're going to find out in the future. It does way more to your body than they know right now, because people are like, you got to remember, doctors are just learning about this. Yeah. So they don't know a lot about it. And it's a thing where, like, I feel 100% now, but it took 7 months. And one thing I will tell anybody that got corona bad is to definitely, after you recover, go back to your doctor and find out for sure if you have any underlying conditions. That's the first thing I did, is I went back. Why did I get this? I work out 6 times a week. I eat healthy. And so they did a brain scan. They did a heart scan. They did everything to make sure I didn't have any underlying conditions. It was just, I was in New York. I performed in front of 2,500 people, met about 1,000 of them, before anybody knew about COVID, and came back to California. And that's when it all went to hell, I guess you could say. So yeah, I just wanted to see how you approached it. But like you said, planes are safe right now. I feel like this is the time to travel when things are safe, because everybody's taking precautions.
I never, again, man, I'm one of those guys where I was never, I never really cared about anything, but I don't have any kids, man. I think once you have kids, it changes everything.
Oh, it does.
I mean, now it's just me. So, whatever.
Well, I want to talk about this. A lot of comics, when this pandemic happened, they moved out of LA. Rogan and team went to Austin. Theo has a place in Nashville. I see comedians moving all around. Me and you, we're in Vegas because we can pop into LA easy when we need to shoot something. What made you want to come to Vegas? Why was Vegas the place for you?
Well, I got out of LA 2 years ago. I moved to Ohio.
You really?
Yeah, I bought a house in Ohio. And then, that was trying to make whatever was going on with the marriage thing kind of work. And I actually wanted to get out. I talk about it in my act, but, I was having these Midwest fantasies, which, that was a quick chat. But I chose Vegas. It was tax-free state, there's tons of rooms to get up. I'm near LA. We shoot Cobra Kai in Atlanta. I'll tell you, man, I think that the world is going to be better for this whole COVID thing afterwards.
Yes, I agree.
Especially with the way we do business. I mean, nobody really has to be in LA anymore. And let's be honest, most people were living there because of the business, and we had to be there. It has a very special place in my heart, but it's overpriced. It's just, there's it's just, it went too crazy. Yeah. And I felt like Vegas was a convenient spot. Like you said, you can have your cake and kind of eat it too. Yeah. But I love the fact that the casinos are here and that you could do shows here, and you can also make money doing stand-up here. Other than New York and LA, this is the only in-town place I know where you could get up and make a little scuttle. Huh?
Well, yeah. But it's even more than LA, because LA, they'll throw you a 20 or 25 for a set. Here, you get a lot more. And I was like, when this thing opens, I feel when everything's done people vaccinated or people feel free to go out and do their thing, I think comedy is going to have another explosion because people are going to run to comedy clubs because they want to laugh.
Well, it's already happening, man. I mean, again,
Yeah.
I've been so far during COVID. I've been in 11 cities.
Yeah.
And people are coming out. I mean, listen, I will say this, okay, and coming to a positive full circle.
Okay.
The 20 somethings are nowhere near as extreme as the millennials were. Because the millennials are pushing 40 now. They're not kids. They're like 38 is like the cutoff, right? These 20 somethings, they grew up on podcasts. They love stand-up comedy. They come to the clubs. They know who the comics are. And it's more of a underground. See, to me, I like the fact that comedy isn't mainstream anymore.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? What do you mean it's not mainstream?
It belongs in the nightclubs.
Got you. Okay.
And, that's where comedy belongs. I mean, it's like it got to the point to where, people are just playing it safe on stage and it belongs. And then it's an underground punk rock and roll, gangster rap art form. And that's just where it belongs. It belongs in comedy club, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, it's nothing like I say, I love the LA comedy in Vegas. I love the energy in the room. And I just, man, a small group of people can bring so much energy. It just feels good in that room. I haven't performed in a lot of places in Las Vegas. I'm hitting some different rooms, but I just feel like this is Vegas for me. It's like you. When it opens up, man, I'll be able to pop in places where I feel LA was a little bit more political, because there's so many great comics there.
Yeah. And the thing with LA and again, I was very fortunate.
Yeah, you were.
Well, I don't want to say fortunate. I worked.
You were good. You were good.
I worked my ass off. So, I don't want to discredit the work, but there's a lot of people that work their ass off and don't get that far. So I was able to work all three clubs on a regular basis, which, I stood in line at the Laugh Factory from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. On a Tuesday every 4 weeks to do 3 minutes in order to get in the club.
Yeah.
Right. I did the open mics at the Comedy Store with the potluck and then getting recommended. And it took me a year and a half to get in. I did the all everything everybody has to go through. And that's the other thing I love about comedy is that I could be headlining. I could meet a guy that's emceeing. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Right. Usually 99% of comedians, 99.9% have been at every level of that, progress to get to wherever you're going to be. Whether you're sitting in an audition room, bombing, waiting tables. I was delivering pizzas at like 32. Whatever it is, we've all been there. So, when you meet a comic that is just loves stand up and loves what it is, and you're already bonded with them. And that's the other thing. They can't be like, I can't believe I'm emceeing. We're like, bitch, we've all done it. Shut up. You know what I mean?
Because you don't love it then.
Yeah, we've all
you don't love
there,
it.
Man. Like I remember one time when I did Jamie Masada's thing, with Dom Herrera, he had a podcast at the Laugh Factory. And I showed up and you just saw all those comics in line, 20 of them waiting to get 3 minutes. And they can't come back for 4 weeks. So they get one shot at 3 minutes. I did that for, I don't know, every 4 weeks I'd go and wait for almost a year and a half. And it would be like me, Sam Tripoli, Maj Jabrani. I was doing mics with Sebastian. We just all forged ahead. I remember Leslie Jones one night, in the kitchen. She was she was down on her luck. She needed a little, we've all been in every aspect and level of this. But, when you meet comics that, love it, it's awesome, man. You bond with them right away. At least I do.
Do you know a lot of comics that like broke, like Sebastian. I know like Joe Coy was my mentor. He broke. That's the whole game about stand-up comedy is like what makes somebody break. Now, if we knew that, we all would do it. But like break to that level. Do you have an idea what that is?
Yeah, it's product awareness. That's all it is. So,
Yeah.
Joe Coy, Sebastian, they put out a quality product.
Yeah.
You have two types of things. You have, even in business, you have marketing, which you're like, hey, here's a piece of shit. I'm going to try and market this and make it look like it's the best thing ever to get you to buy it. And then there's this thing that is just so good. Once people are aware of it, it'll take a life of its own. And, in my opinion, again, I'm not a guy that's bashing the industry, but they got lazy. They're not in the as a football guy, let's just say that you hear there's a receiver that's 6'4", runs a 4.1 40 and, has hands of glue, or you're at least going to go down there and see him play.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the other thing that's changed. You had executives that used to hang out at the comedy shows. Like, the reason why there was that era of so many great comedians just popping up is because, like, Dublin's in LA. I mean, it broke Dane. I could go on. Mitch Mulaney, Alonzo, Sebastian. There were so many people that performed at that club. And the industry came down to say, hey, let's see what the buzz is about. And you got to see somebody actually do what we do.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that bothers me, is that I think comedy gets disrespected. There's very few people that do comedy well. And the industry acts as if they can just check a couple of boxes and forget the fact that it takes a long time to sharpen this skill.
Oh, yeah.
There's not many people that can write comedy. There's not many people that can perform comedy. There's not many people that can do stand-up. It's just like being a professional athlete. There's not many people that could throw a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, right? This is a rarity. So, but they don't treat it like that. They're like, okay, we're looking for this, and whatever this fits this description, and we want you to be this way and that way. But see, those days are done.
Yeah.
Because the internet has changed the game. So that product awareness is the reason why Sebastian sold out Madison Square Garden. It's the reason why Bert Kreischer and Joe Rogan and all of these Bill Burr, you can go on and on. Most of them were discovered online.
Yeah.
The industry, it didn't do its job, right? At least, again, I look at it from a business standpoint, right? You should be in the clubs every night. I mean, if my job is football, I'm sending a scout at least to go look at players. I mean, how the hell are you determining these things? And again, it's not that I'm bitter. I have a career. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy with where I'm at. I just think that, they're not, a lot of them aren't doing their jobs. I mean, I used to see them all the time, and there's maybe 2 or 3 that I know personally that are there that, you don't see anybody in the clubs anymore.
No.
I mean, prior to COVID, obviously, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Bret, I gotta go. This has been amazing. Like, I could talk to you forever, and I can't wait till we do our
do it off air.
Yeah, well, we can do it off air. But make sure you go check him out. He does Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 o'clock, LA Comedy Club in Vegas. If you're in Vegas, awesome night. It's fun. And it's great to see comics just work out. And that's what you do up there.
Dude, but I'll tell you, that LA Comedy Club it's
amazing.
It's like, they want you to go, that's the other thing too. If you ever go to the Comedy Store again, look under the cover booth, and Mitzi is the godmother of stand-up.
Yeah.
And to come up at the Comedy Store when I came up to work with all of these comedians. And, the other thing that's great about the store, there's no MC. So whoever just did it, they bring you up and you got to follow it, whatever it may be. Go. It could be Chris Rock. It could be anybody. But it says under the cover booth, you don't have 3 minutes to be funny. You have 3 minutes to be who you are.
Yep.
Right. And a lot of the comedy clubs that, without mentioning names, they want you to, hey, do your time, get out so they can go gamble, or keep it light. We don't, we got, people, tourists or whatever. LA Comedy Club's like, go hard in the paint. And you can't ask for a better type of situation, especially if you're going to work out every night. You know what I mean? Big shout outs to Matt. And by the way, I took the Bucks. All right. I meant to tell you.
Did you really?
I won. Dude, I hit every bet this weekend. I hit the head. I got heads. I hit the coin toss. I took the Bucks and the points in a parlay with the under. Then I took the Bucks in the money line with a parlay in the under, and then I just took the Bucks in the money line, and all 4 hit, man. And it was a last second decision because I told you I was going to go with Kansas City.
Yeah, you did.
But I switched out, man. Which
so what's something like that win you?
I mean, it's okay. No, I mean, look, a couple of hundred. You could, if the one of the parlays paid about 2.5 times the money.
Oh, that's great.
So whatever you bet. So if you bet 100, I won about, I think it was like 250 or something like that.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
great.
But they all add up. So.
All right. Everybody's saying they enjoyed the pod. All right, Bret, we're going to do this again soon, man. Oh, I'll just see you in the club and we'll do it in real life. So I appreciate your time, man.
No, of course. Thank you, man.
All right. Have a great one. Okay.
All right, brother. Later.
All right. Later. That was awesome. That was awesome, man. That was awesome. I mean, the dude is a killer. Make sure you check him out if you're in Las Vegas. Thank you for watching the pod today. I'll be uploading this on Facebook. I mean, on my normal podcasting, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to it. Hey, make sure you share it. Make sure you keep spreading the word. Follow the page. Do not like the page. Follow the page. Do not like the page. It does more for me. I will see you next time. Later.